Hello, and welcome back to Pixel Perfect, episode 65. My name is Volcata, and since the last episode, all I've been able to think about is our new electromagnetic control rod project. How it can organically spread across the desert, following the rail lines, and culminating into some kind of central hub. It's really all I've been able to think about lately, and I can't wait to get back to it. In fact, I want to get back to it right now. Right now. Of course, before we can return to the project, we need to stay true to our mission statement, which is that we need to check in on this, probably at the beginning of every episode and see where it stands, which is, of course, the space elevator manufacturing. And everything's yellow. Okay, that's good. We know whenever we do splitters across multiple machines on exact numbers, we always end up with something like this. Let's see here. Let's dump our inventory so the numbers stay straight. And I don't know that we still need to have our overclocking. Remember, this was just kind of catching up for all the time that we weren't running the machines. And looking over at the spreadsheet, which I don't think we need to bring up on screen, we are a final step away. The next step is the magnetic field generator, which is the thing that we need. So let's flip this over. Magnetic field generator. It's going to require the versatile frameworks we just made. The electromagnetic control rods that, yes, I know we're just now setting up manufacturing for, but we did temporary manufacturing back at home just several way back episodes for something or another, and we stored enough for this. Still counts, we didn't craft them by hand. And 20,000 batteries. I'm going to reclaim these. Copy. Paste. Paste. And that's going to dump into my inventory all the stuff that was in these, right? The leftovers are there. Now we're just going to dump all these in. Won't take long for the rubber to free up enough space while we're at it. Let's grab those. And no, we don't need them for anything, but we've tried to do this at standard pacing to show that you don't have to rush. If you don't know why yet that I do these things, then you haven't watched my past episodes. All right, so now all we need is for this to finish right here and to get batteries up to here. And it's going to do 19 more evolutions, or 18 now. So this will take no time at all. All right, let's start getting batteries over here. We're going to use this set of storages. We can do... I know this is a little dirty. We'll clean it up after the fact. This is our little belt highway over to here from our on-site storage, where all the stuff comes off the train and goes through our sorters. Oh, pay no attention to this. This was from sending their stuff over previously. Batteries right here. 48, 96, and that's 5,600. Remember, it always stores 4 items in a lift that goes between containers. You can see there's 4 in there and there's 4 in there. That's exactly 20,000. So that goes all the way up. So we bring it down, attach it to there, and away it goes. Excellent. And we don't need to worry about waiting for this to finish transferring over because it's the last step, right? So it can just make its way however fast it wants to. We'll connect it and it'll just start feeding. We just need this to be done so we can transfer the last one over. And it looks like it's shy on steel beams. I've been noticing this problem ever since update 8, where we're losing product in storages, and I think that stuff that was stored prior to the update lost maybe the materials that were in, you know, lifts or something like that. But there's been anything that I've seen that's kind of a vintage holdover of material, we've seen a lot of loss. So I've actually had to kind of make up for those off camera from time to time. So I'm just gonna dump these in there. We're gonna let the last 6 of these finish. We're gonna double check and make sure that nothing else was shy. And we have exactly the amount of versatile frameworks that we need, which is 10,000. And we will transfer them from the temporary output container back into an input container. Maybe that one. Who knows? Probably that one. So give me just a moment as the last ones roll off, and let me do some math here and make sure we actually have 10,000. All right, all the machines are ready to go. We have exactly the amount we need. We were shy one single modular frame to do the final process, but that's fine. We got it set up now. We have exactly 10,000. They are all in here. We need to transfer these. Let's do this. Should be pretty simple, right? Right here. Put the neighboring one. There it goes. Excellent. And everything should be set. These numbers should reset themselves to the default now that we have no shards in here. What are we gonna do? Yeah, it's just not showing it until it processes the first one. But that's all good. And the electromagnetic control rods I said were over here. Yep, there's all 4,000 of them right there. All right. And this is the final step of the not final item. Connect that. Connect that. Perfect. Yay, success! Sure, it only takes 2 minutes for it to process one time. All right, so 4 machines at 1 per minute. We need 4,000, right? So that's 1,000 per machine at 1 a minute. That's only 16 hours. Piece of cake. This will probably be done before we're even done with the electromagnetic control rods. All right. Time to leave it alone and get back over here. In fact, our train is all the way over there. I was so excited to get started on the project that I forgot to park the train over here. I just let it auto run all the way over there. Probably take our little cart here. I had to go down this road because the other road, it's a one-way road, right? So I didn't want to go the wrong way. Oh, I love our little tree farm. It's so cool. You know, I've been trying to use the other features that we felt were underused and, you know, before some of the updates here. And of course, the one that I never used was our little wire riding thing until they introduced this. Now it's way better. All right, so since last episode, I set up a little area here, of course, you know, for all of the goods to be split up that we're going to need, putting together all the machines. And I didn't actually have them set up initially, so I kind of needed to loop them back through once I actually built them. Looks like that's done now. Good, good, good. Clear all this out. That will allow us to reconnect the output of the station And that'll sort out the rest of the materials that we're going to need. And again, this is strictly for all the machinery that we're going to use. We still need to set up manufacturing for concrete and basic iron stuff, you know, like iron plate and iron rods. All right, sir, don't make me do something about you. Sneak down behind him here. Of course, we don't have the manual miners we're going to need. Stop it. To actually place down a miner. Don't. You're going to get on my nerves, buddy. All right, let's step away for a moment. You know what? We've got Mark III miners now, so just for the fun of it, let's do that. Wild overkill. How much are we getting out of this? It's purity. 120. I think that means it's an impure? Yeah, it's impure. I'm glad we went with Mark III then, or... you know what, let's put the constructors down here. Buddy, you're gonna cause a problem that you can't handle. I'm about to get shot. Come on, where is it? Where is it? Constructor. There we go. Concrete, 45 per minute. No, no, not autosave. Mark 1 for each one of these. What's the output rate? Oh, might help if we paste that. 15 per minute, so we'll mark 1 belt. We'll handle all 3 of these. Let's aim them this way because that's where we have our other storages. That's going to reach, so let's fall out of the sky down into the hostiles. Come on, power, thank you. We are seeing a little bit of frame loss. I apologize for that. All right, so on-site concrete is done. We just need to grab ourselves a iron node and do the same. So I'll be right back. All right, I was going to do all this off camera, but I wanted to show you the shortcut. So that's 240 per minute off of that Mark III miner. As you can see, we have, I believe, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. And we're missing a belt. Already messing things up. The reason these are all nice and neat isn't just because of my OCD, but because we actually made a blueprint before for the purposes of the thing over there. All the wire and stuff we made. But we had an array of 3 of these right here already made as smelters for iron. So we just, didn't really have to do anything. It was pretty awesome. Super simple. In fact, let's get this out of my inventory. There we go. So that's going to be way, way, way more than what we need. And I'm also going to repurpose this iron wire setup because, it's for constructors. I've done no math here. I'm not going to bother chaining these because we genuinely don't need that kind of output. And we'll set this to iron plate, copy, paste, paste, and let's make rods as well. Perfect. And look, these were already strung together. Makes it so much easier. Where is our nearest power pole? I think it's over here. Somewhere? Do that. Connect. Okay. It's all temporary. It doesn't have to be nice and neat. The less neat we make it, the better we'll feel about tearing it all down later. Because that always works, right? And let's pop that one there, that one there. Grab ourselves smart splitter. This will be a little cramped here. That's all right. Plate, rods, like that. Bob's your uncle. Probably need to go a little faster than that. All right, all the on-site manufacturing is now complete. That was super easy. It'll be even better when we, give power to the miner. Details. Can't be bothered. All right, time to get to work on the actual project. Oh man, I wasn't joking in the intro. Well, I mean, kind of joking, but I wasn't when I said that I've just been thinking about this all the time. Because, I don't get paid to do this, so I have to do something else to make money. Which means I can't just be doing this all day, every day, even if I want to. And I do. So sometimes there, has to be a gap between when I get to work on these projects and when I don't. And it does give me some time to think about it. So yeah, I've just been really excited about doing this. Before I go over there, we need to consider what we're going to build over there, since all of our supplies are over here. Take a look at my spreadsheet. Most immediately, I want to put down all the refineries for the Caterium, or to go to Caterium ingots. And the spreadsheet says 33 machines. So let's make sure we have the material we need for 33 refineries. We do not. Fortunately, we can go shopping. All right, so we want 33. Dividing that in half is 16. And some change. So we're going to go over here. Take our triple refineries. We want the output to be towards the middle. We're going to lock it in place. Nudge, nudge, nudge. And there we go. That's 3. Okay, we're going to want to run some... Actually, we're going to run some rail real quick like for our power. Ah, it moved on me at the last second. I actually want the left side to be one block ahead. And that will be the left side going this way. And the reason for that is because when we have signals, they're on the inside. I don't want them to collide, and I want the train to be able to see the right signal. These two, unfortunately, I stopped them at the same spot, but I'm okay with that. We don't put a signal at every junction. All right, let's go into delete blueprint mode and then copy. Nice trick, huh? I think we're right on it. No? Hard to tell. Where is the end of the previous box? Come on. Problem is we don't benefit from the snap too. So we're gonna nudge. Perfect. So that's what, 6? Nine. I think 12 was our target, right? Doesn't sound right. Definitely was not right. Because that would be 24 going on either side. And I want to move this bad boy to anywhere else, though we don't have the stuff for it. That's all right. We don't need it anyway. I just needed it to see where the Caterium node was. So we are at 3, 6, 9, 12. Right, 16 was our target. Nudge. Let's grab ourselves. Let's get a couple more there. And I do believe we have a blueprint. That's interesting that it's not taking away from our to-do list because it's part of a blueprint. That seems like a small oversight, doesn't it? Nudge. Perfect. Now, it is not only possible, but very likely that there will be some special consideration to how the liquids flow. Although there won't be a liquid output, so I didn't actually need to connect those. Because this will be our pure Caterium, and so we only need water coming in. Copy that. Just paste our happy way through here. I know this is just barely nudging that. I'm okay with that. You know, the machine isn't really in it. That's fine. If it were, then I would just move it over, you know, a pixel or two. And I'll have to math up the piping, and I already see a problem. I'm sure you guys see it too. This isn't lined up. That means something somewhere went awry. These are centered. That means these are not. Hold, please. Okay, so I maybe got a little carried away. I just kept going. It just, you know, I just kept going. I couldn't help it. So this is really all the refineries that we're going to need for Caterium. The piping is done-ish. The conveyoring is done-ish. And I say ish because they're not mathed out. That's all Mark 1, and these are all Mark 1 pipes. There will need to be some math, but that's fine. You know, it's all connected. I wanted to make sure everything would line up nicely, and it does. It's beautiful. It just I mean, just imagine this, right? How cool is this going to be riding the train down here as deuterium ingots slowly add up coming down the line as the, more and more machines collect together. That is just going to be wild. This is going to be an awesome view riding the train. I think it's going to be just super cool. And, if anyone's thinking about this, it might seem like I've kind of oversighted something. The train tracks are side by side. And you're like, well, okay, yeah, they're always side by side. Yeah, they are. And to be fair, when I first drew these out some time back, I wasn't completely thinking it through, but shortly after, it kind of dawned on me that this is not ideal. But I'd had time to think about it, and it led to something interesting I want to do with the building and the station and whatnot. I'm not going to go over that right now, but I am going to go over the problem that some viewers might have spotted, which is that if we want to have our rails run down between the refineries, at some point the train has to turn around and come back. And initially when I talked about it, I kind of considered, the train going down through these refineries and then going through the copper refineries on the way out, which would have meant that the processing would have to happen and they'd have to leave somewhere else. And that also would mean that they're not side by side. Obviously, we have scrapped that idea. But more importantly, I do get that there would be a problem down the line to where we're going to have to do a U-turn and bring the rails back together and do it in a clean way. Because we can't just run this up to a station. A station is more than, one foundation wide. And as we know by now, that a 100-degree U-turn takes 6 foundation lengths. So that's fine. I have something in mind. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I just wanted to let you know that I'm aware that we created a little bit of a conundrum, but I want to go with this. And as I was doing all of this, there was another thing that I kind of realized. I was trying to plan some other things out, how we're going to do this, because I talked about wanting to have this as a sprawling complex, but I also wanted to have the rails go between the refineries. And it's working out for the deuterium, but if we're going to have the building, say, in this area, and if we're not going to have the exit go somewhere else, then where are we going to put the copper processing? So that was something I had to consider, and I was taking a look at the map and came to a realization that there's really only one way we can do this. So let's take a look at the map real quick. Now we need 1,079 copper ore per minute. And we're right here going this direction. And up ahead of us, what we have is mostly iron and a little bit of copper. And that impure copper is not going to supply 1,079 per minute. And of course our coal is up here. Now this is all good for us because we need to do steel. And this is going to work out just right for us. So these nodes will be tapped and we'll have our building somewhere in this area that we can do all of our steel manufacturing in. But you can see we don't have copper ahead of us. We do, however, have copper behind us. There we are, pure copper node, and another pure copper node, and a node right here that you'll see is claimed a normal copper node, because, I did say I got a little carried away. Let me show you something. Placing all those refineries reminded me that we are going to use a lot of piping. I mean, a ridiculous amount of piping, because we're going to have a ton of water extractors and carrying that water all over the place, which means copper sheeting. So I threw down another miner on the nearby copper node, just mirrored what we did with the iron, ran it under, and set up some copper sheeting processing. And again, it's always such a simple thing to set these up on site, make yourself a temporary area, and make the materials you're going to need lots of. And this has been slowly working away at it. Look, see, that's plenty. And so I'm not going to have to worry about that at all. But while we're here, we can talk about what we're going to do with the copper solution. Once I thought it out, the solution was obvious, which is to extend our refinery idea down this line. And this works out for two really crucial reasons. First, of course, we have our copper all on this end of the production, but also because we have all of our water in this area. So we end up wrapping around the lake, making it much easier for us to manage where we put our water extractors and attach them to our refinery rows. Now this does mean that we'll need to probably raise this up a little bit so that we don't have this little hump here, and straighten that out and then connect it somewhere else. That's not a big deal. We can do that really easily. You know, that line doesn't have to go straight at all times. You know, we did have to do this little dido. We didn't have to do it right here. We could have done it anywhere along that line. So what we'll do is we'll probably reverse build our refineries backwards and just place a bunch of platforms until we run out of space that we need refineries for, and then we'll do the little turn before it. Now, of course, all this is going to get in the way, but I'm not really worried about that at all. We can move that stuff or just wait to place the refineries as the last thing. It's truly not a concern. But we do have a lot of refineries to place related to the copper. I mean, we need 72 alone just for the copper ingots. And then another 34 for the copper sheeting. So the Caterium was actually the small side of the project. So I think that the next step is going to be to bring this level up so that it goes straight flat. Because we can't really put refineries up a ramp. And I do want to keep this as continuous as I can. So I want the refineries probably to end, somewhere in this area. Look at that, perfect. We're not going to collide with that. That is so excellent. It's like it was meant to be. So we can do something like this. And then what we can do is with the output, because what we'll do is we'll do our row of ingots, which will just feed straight into our row of sheeting. And then the sheeting can pop out here at the end, and we can just stack conveyors over here. Let's see, right about here. Put that right on the line. And we can just run it over it. So as we're going through the train, we will see the two layers, one of which has the Caterium ingots, and the other of which has copper sheeting. And actually, now that I think about it, we'll need 3 lines, because not all of the copper ingots are going to go into copper sheeting. A lot of them will go into making the quick wire in our assemblers. So what we'll have is like that. Super easy. 3 lines. We'll be able to ride down and check it all out as it goes. Yeah, this is going to work out great. This is going to be awesome. It's also going to be an incredible amount of work. So I'm going to get busy altering the rail line and trying to get an idea for just how far down we're going to have to push our platforms in order to make this a smooth transition. So I'm going to get started on that and probably take a look at how much time we've got in this episode, because I would like to get all the refineries placed and maybe start on the building next episode. So let me get started and we'll see where we're at. Mission accomplished. All the refineries are placed. So of course, this is a process of coming up with an idea, seeing how viable it is, and seeing if it can lead to even better ideas. And as you can see, we accomplished what we were kind of setting out for. It's actually pretty cool, right? We got our train path going through all of the refineries, and we went as far as to put up these little pillars here so that we can, set up all of the power with the train clearing under them quite nicely. It gives a kind of a canopy. And I think it's fantastic. I love it. But one of the things I had suggested was making this one long path going through all the copper and then all of the Caterium. But when I started messing around with it, I realized that the amount of refineries that we needed to place meant we were going to be halfway back to Santa's workshop with just refineries. And that was going to result in this kind of weird, you know, all refinery row with maybe a building stuck on the end of it, like a lollipop. And it didn't set well with me. It was a little too much, it was a little too drawn out. But this was a great start, and it led me to eventually come up with making a horseshoe. And this is perfect. I mean, this is absolutely perfect because we're only using a specific amount of copper ingots for the copper sheeting. So this allowed us to actually separate our copper ingot lines into their purpose. So all of these refineries here will create the exact amount of copper ingots that we need for generating all of the copper sheeting. And we'll be able to, you know, bring the outputs right along here. Sorry again about the frame loss. I'm trying to move as little as possible. And we'll wrap them around this little opening here and pop them right in the back. And there's a tremendous amount of work, a ridiculous, absurd amount of work left to be done. Again, none of these belts are mathed out. They're just connected. And I still need to delete all these pipes, which I didn't do that because I wanted to show you a really cool feature. You're probably already aware of it, but I wanted to show you how useful it is in this instance. But I'll get back to that in just a second. But over here we have the rest of the ingots, which are going to go towards the generation of quick wire in an assembler recipe that takes deuterium ingots and copper ingots to make quick wire. And what we'll do is we'll have it all end up on the end, just like we will with the deuterium ingots, and we'll bring them together and we'll have a building here in the middle. And the same will go for the rail. It will go and it will hook around and then it will pull into the building. So this is going to be a really convenient central location. It'll allow the two products to merge in the middle. And with all of the refineries wrapped around the lake, we can spread out the water extractors to make it a little less daunting for getting all of the water to the refineries that need them. And that's going to be a major, major task because we need tons of water and there's going to be pipes everywhere because of the math for the pipes. It's really not something I'm looking forward to. But I'll probably get that done between episodes because we definitely don't have time for it today. So next episode, we'll focus on getting the steel up and running and the quick wire up and running and hopefully get the architecture of the building designed. I don't know if we're going to be able to finish this in the next episode, but I think we're going to be able to get close to it. We'll just have to see when we get there. But we've got a great start. All the refineries are already in place. They're all wired up. They're painted. They have the correct recipes assigned to them. I even have the copper nodes already run. Those belts are actually mathed out already, Mark 5s and a Mark 4. And they come down here, pass under the structures, and they split off as necessary. You see that goes around? Pretty nice, huh? And the same is done with the deuterium all the way down the far end. So that is all taken care of. So the last thing I wanted to show you before we get out of here is how I'm getting rid of all these pipes that were part of the blueprints. Because in an update, they added a really cool feature that I don't have a lot of use for, but it's still a wonderful quality of life update. And again, you're probably familiar with it, but if we go into dismantle mode, you'll see in the hotkeys below, dismantle filter. I'm going to highlight the pipeline junction. I'm going to hit G for the filter. And now the only thing that can be highlighted, you can see, are the junctions. So I'm going to hold down Control to add it to the list of dismantle. I'm going to just kind of look down. I'm just going to fly over. And look at that. It's just highlighting those. I don't have to worry about anything else except for, you know, the laggy frame rate problems. And I'll just do these real quick like. Because there's still the limit of 50 per. I'll make sure I got them because the screen jumped a little bit. And I'll just knock all those out. You can see they all went away. And I'm going to reestablish the filter now for just the Mark 1 pipes. And I'm going to do another pass over the top of it. Super easy. Look at that. Oh man, I mean, this has always been a pain when it came to having to get rid of all these tight-knit pipes in the past. Trying not to delete other stuff around that you don't want to. Now I just don't have to pay attention to what I'm targeting. I just fly right over it, holding down control, and that's everything it gets. It's so nice. It's made things so much easier. And there we go. It was that easy. All cleaned up. Alright, I will meet you back at home for the outro. Now that all came out a lot better than I thought it would. I mean, it's not to say that I thought it would come out poorly. I always have a pretty high opinion of what I come up with, but, you know, I kind of had a little bit of something in my head when we started all this, and through some iteration and trying, I think we came up with something even better. So I'm really excited to see how the end product comes out for our electromagnetic control rods. But again, that's going to have to wait until next episode, maybe the one after it. But all I can say is that there is really nothing else to say. So I'm going to thank you for coming out and give you back some of your time. Thank you as always for donating your time to watch the content that I create. And if you've made it to the outro, you have my extra thanks. And if you didn't make it to the outro, you're not hearing this. So don't forget to leave a like on the way out, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. If you enjoyed this, you may want to check out one of these other videos, and thank you very much for your time.